Next news. Breaking news from the White House.
History just thundered through Capitol Hill today, and Washington did not know what to do with it. King Charles III walked into a joint session of Congress, delivered a rare address reserved for only a handful of foreign leaders, and then something remarkable happened. The chamber lit up with applause for faith, for constitutional order, and for a blunt condemnation of violence against President Donald Trump. Then the White House dropped a message that sent social media into overdrive. Two kings. It wasn't just pomp, not just royal theater, and not just diplomacy. It was a statement about power, alliance, and America's return to strength under President Trump. So why does this matter to you? Because symbols matter when nations are tested. And today the symbol was unmistakable. America is no longer apologizing for its heritage, for its faith, or its leadership. Under the Trump administration, the United States is projecting confidence again. Even one of the world's most recognized monarchs came to Congress and spoke the language of ordered liberty, checks and balances, Christian faith, and national resolve. That hits at the center of the battle right now that's raging in American life. See, the left has spent years sneering at tradition, mocking Christianity, and treating patriotism like a threat. Yet inside that same chamber, many of those same Democrats stood and applauded a literal king after spending months shouting, "No kings." They exposed themselves in real time. Now, politically, this is bigger than a ceremony. It was a public display that the United States and the United Kingdom, that alliance remains strong, that President Trump is commanding the global stage, and that America First leadership does not mean America alone. It means America respected, America secure, and America setting the tone again. So as we talk about strength, resilience, and getting your life back, let me tell you about something personal that changed our home. You see, for years, my wife battled chronic pain and anxiety from her diagnosis, endless doctor visits, treatments that didn't help. Watching her struggle daily, it broke my heart. And then Jonathan Otto introduced red light therapy. And through red light therapy, her pain vanished, anxiety lifted, she's sleeping soundly, full of energy and life again. My recovery and vitality, better than guys half my age. Truly life-changing for us. It's backed by NASA research, it's FDA cleared, and studies show rapid pain relief and better recovery. If you want to feel stronger and sharper, go to myredlight.com. Use NNN25 for 25% off individual items or NNN30 for 30% off bundles. Take control of your health and start feeling like yourself again today. Let's go back to the Capitol, because the most revealing part of this royal address was not the pageantry. It was who applauded and why. Now here's the twist the corporate media will try to blur out. King Charles did not give Congress some mushy, generic, globalist lecture. He praised the Magna Carta as a root of checks and balances. He called the Christian faith a firm anchor and daily inspiration, and he forcefully denounced the attack that sought to harm President Trump and spread fear. That's not the language of the activist left. That's the language of civilization, of order, and moral confidence. And the room knew it. King Charles has been introduced into a joint session of Congress where he gave a historic speech. Very few foreign dignitaries ever get this honor.
Second British monarch to address this body, following his mother, who spoke at the Capitol in 1991. The king is expected to emphasize the long history and democratic values that the UK shares with the US. And then later tonight, after this address, President Trump will host a state dinner for the royal first couple. You see him greeting there the Vice President and the Speaker of the House.
Just remarkable visuals right there. Congress rolling out the red carpet for King Charles. Now we go from the chamber to the image, the First Lady of office pushed out front and center. This is something beautiful. such class right there from the First Lady, who's been under attack from the left, of course, Jimmy Kimmel. But it sets the tone. King Charles drops a line about the Magna Carta, checks and balances, that brings the whole chamber to its feet. Listen to this.
Principles reiterated, often verbatim, in the American Bill of Rights of 1791. And those roots go even further back in history. The US Supreme Court Historical Society has calculated that Magna Carta is cited in at least 160 Supreme Court cases since 1789, not least as the foundation of the principle that executive power is subject to checks and balances.
He's like a baby. Wow. I've never seen Schumer so excited in a joint address. Congress roaring over the constitutional callback, but here's the Post. This is the Post, man. The White House posting 2 kings. You gotta love the troll posts from the White House, man. The White House is leaning all the way into the royal optics. Now comes the twist. John Solomon highlights Trump's bloodline reportedly ties back to the same royal family. Trump's lineage traced back to King James II of Scotland, a common ancestor of King Charles III. So the branding wasn't all style. There's a family history angle. Charles hits Congress with a direct declaration about the Christian faith that also gets a major applause.
The Christian faith is a firm anchor and daily inspiration that guides us, not only personally.
Wow.
That guides us not only personally, but together as members of our community. Having devoted a large part of my life to interfaith relationships and greater understanding, it is that faith in the triumph of light over darkness which I have found confirmed countless times. Through it, I am inspired by the profound respect that develops as people.
Let's just be very clear here. Yes, he's talking about interfaith dialogue, and we should always have dialogue with our fellow humans on this planet, but there is only one path to heaven, and that's through Jesus Christ our Lord. Let's just be very clear about that. So it was not just Vegas ceremony, it was a full-throated defense of faith from the podium. White House chamber clapping. One of the Democrats' biggest anti-American voices was smiling right along. Ilhan Omar, all smiles for King Charles' speech during Congress. Oh, yeah. Look at Ilhan. She's so excited for the king, right? She couldn't hide her grin. No. Valuetainment also posting new research reveals that King Charles III and President Trump actually 15th cousins, sharing a common ancestor in the 3rd Earl of Lennox, a 16th century Scottish nobleman. So let's take a look at the lineage, shall we? Look at that. John Stuart, the 3rd Earl of Lennox, begat Matthew, the Earl of Lennox, and also Lady Helen Stuart, the Earl of Sutherland, who begat Alexander and Lady Jane and Donald Mackay and Anna Jane Monroe. All the way down to Marianne McLeod. Look at that. How wild. All the way going up to King James II of Scotland. That is the family line. That's remarkable. I have my own remarkable lineage. I should point out that I am directly related to Ulysses S. Grant, 15th cousins with George Washington. I grew up, my mother telling me stories that we were related to John Adams and John Quincy Adams. So 4 presidents in my bloodline. We have relatives, ancestors who fought at the Battle of Kings Mountain, turning point in the Revolutionary War, since we're talking about the British. What else? I have members of my family fought in the Civil War on the Confederate side. I've actually been to their graves. I've seen them. Remarkable. Yeah, maybe that's where I get my fighting spirit, huh? And this picture really paints a picture. Paints a story, doesn't it? Not even 48 hours apart. Kristen Mag writes, he is unshakable. The picture on the top is President Trump reviewing the security footage from the shooting over the weekend. Everyone in their tuxedos, from the White House Correspondents' Center in the Oval Office, to just 48 hours later, sipping tea with the king in the Oval Office. That could have turned out very differently. Office of Congressman Abe Hamida, quite the confusing scene on the House floor today. Many of Congressman Hamida's Democrat colleagues who have just spent months chanting "No Kings" just gave an actual king a standing ovation. And here is more from the king, his own words, as he leans into 4 centuries of history and one line that jumps out, the last line.
Standing here today, it is hard not to feel the weight of history on my shoulder, because the modern relationship between our 2 nations and our own peoples spans not merely 250 years, but over 4 centuries. It is extraordinary to think that I am the 19th in our line of sovereigns to study with daily attention the affairs of America. So I come here today with the highest respect for the United States Congress, this citadel of democracy created to represent the voice of all American people to advance sacred rights and freedoms. Speaking in this renowned chamber of debate and deliberation, I cannot help but think of my late mother, Queen Elizabeth, who in 1991 was also afforded this signal honor and similarly spoke under the watchful eye of the Statue of Freedom above us. Today, I am here on this great occasion in the life of our nations to express the highest regard and friendship of the British people to the people of the United States.
The highest regard, he says. Daily attention to the affairs of the Americans. Charles framed the alliance with a heavy dose of history. The royal continuity next. A later moment, people noticed the king and queen rolling around under massive security with the windows down. Wall Street Mav posting that Secret Service spending tens of thousands of dollars an hour to keep the king and queen safe. And in every video I've seen, they've chosen to ride around in their armored BMW with the windows down. After the pageantry and protection goes serious again, Charles directly condemns the attempt on President Trump. And the chamber erupts with thunderous applause.
Of the incident not far from this great building that sought to harm the leadership of your nation and to foment wider fear and discord. Let me say with unshakable resolve, such acts of violence will never succeed. whatever our differences, whatever disagreements we may have, we stand united in our commitment to uphold democracy, to protect all our people from harm, and to salute the courage of those who daily risk their lives in the service of our countries. Standing here today, it is hard not to feel the weight of history on my shoulder.
The weight of history. The weight of history! That was one of the strongest moments of the speech. No hedging, no excuses. And then this one from the White House. The British are coming! I love it, man. And then this, President Trump gives the First Lady, Melania, a playful tap on the tush.
My wonderful mother, Mary MacLeod. Mary MacLeod was born in Stornoway, Scotland, the Hebrides, and that's what they call very serious Scotland. There's no question about it. Some places they say, well, was it really Scotland? The Hebrides, that's real serious Scotland. That's where they had their greatest of warriors, their greatest of warriors. She came to America at 19, met my incredible father. We loved him so much. We all loved him. We loved her. We loved him, Fred. And they were married for 63 years. And excuse me if you don't mind. That's a record we won't be able to match, darling. I'm sorry. It's just not going to work out that way.
Oh my
We'll do well, but we're not going to do that well.
Oh my God.
63 years.
So, where's that shot? There it is. President Trump. Going in for the grab, right? Gotta love it. So, the real headline is this. Under President Trump, Washington just hosted a moment that fused history, faith, and hard power into one image the establishment can't stand. The White House posted two kings, and the message was obvious. One is monarchy by blood. The other is elected. An elected leader who has completely reclaimed America's swagger. While Democrats chant slogans, Trump commands the room, the alliance, and the moment. And the most delicious part, members of that same left that spent months screeching "No kings" leapt to their feet for one when he praised Christian faith, constitutional restraint, and resolve against political violence. They were all caught on camera applauding the very values they spend every day trying to tear down right here at home. So take a step back and look at the full picture. A British king addressed Congress. He honored the constitutional roots of liberty. He spoke openly about Christian faith. He condemned violence aimed at President Trump. The chamber applauded. The White House said, two kings. And Democrats who posture as anti-crown revolutionaries exposed themselves as total frauds the second as the cameras rolled. This was a historic speech, yes, but more than that, it was proof that America is back in command under President Trump. Strong allies respect strength. Weakness invites contempt, and today the world saw strength. If you agree, share this report everywhere. Comment below with a yes or no. Did this speech prove the left's No Kings Act is completely fake? Make sure you subscribe, tap the bell. To beat the censors, though, this is what you need to do. A little secret. Text raw feed to 844-840-4963 so you get direct alerts from me straight to your phone. Check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. Remember to stay bold, stay free, and keep fighting for the America First future.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.